Now, look, across the weekend, there's been some pretty serious wheelings and dealings going on in the coalition. Obviously, they're trying to stitch up their situation. They seem to have come to some sort of agreement over the weekend. And joining us now to tell us a little bit more about it is federal member for Fisher, Andrew Wallace. It's been a busy weekend, Andrew. Thanks for joining us, mate. Thanks for joining us there, Andrew.
It was, Mark and AB. Good morning. Good morning to your listeners. It's great that we have been able to get the show back on the road. The coalition is reformed, as we spoke about last week, and now we can get back to business in ensuring that we are looking after Australians' best interests by holding this government to account.
Now, you did sort of call this the other day. You said that it's definitely not in a bad way, that it's going to get back in shape. So you obviously had an idea that things were going to get sorted. Was it at the expense of anything that that you guys on the Liberal side of the coalition really hold dear to, that you value? Like, were there any sacrifices made from your part, or was it just a misunderstanding?
Look, I really believe that it didn't have to happen. I think that it was just a miscommunication. The issue of cabinet or shadow cabinet solidarity is really important, and that's something that is definitely being reaffirmed, the importance of it. You can't have shadow cabinet if, people are a bunch of individuals making their own calls on various policies and legislation. So that's going to be codified, and so the reality is people will absolutely know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you depart from that, if you depart from what cabinet or shadow cabinet decides, then you're out, and that's as it should be.
Can I just ask another question on that, please, Andrew? So that was a big deal for the Nationals, wasn't it? Was the independence on certain kinds of policy or on certain kinds of issues? Whether or not that was fair to assess it that way or not, but will there be some Nationals independence from the coalition on issues like, for instance, energy? You guys are struggling to agree on that. Is that something that the Nationals may get a bit more independence on?
No, ultimately, the joint party room has the primacy. It determines the only body that can overturn a decision of shadow cabinet. We landed our position on energy last year, and we're absolutely in lockstep over that. Look, who knows what will happen around the corner, but it's important that we ironed out those differences of opinion and to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
Now, Andrew, another reason you wanted to chat to us today, there was this horrific story that broke a few days ago. 596 online child abuse charges towards one 27-year-old man in Maryborough. That is not far from the Sunshine Coast. It's one that people are really feeling at the moment. I don't think it's been spoken about much either, which is exceptionally concerning. What have you got for us there?
Well, AB, this individual was arrested by Queensland Police, who did a fantastic job around 12 months ago, and they've effectively only just announced it just last week. 596 offences for child abuse-related offences involving 23,000 videos and images with 450 15 countries, now predominantly Australia. But, I think what Australians need to understand, and I think it's important that we should point out that this person deserves the right to presumption of innocence, but until the court determines otherwise. But at the end of the day, people need to understand that this isn't just something that's happening in other countries. It's happening in your neighbourhood. It's happening in, the houses behind you. The number of the Australian Federal Police received 80,000 complaints for child sexual offences last year alone. That's 200 a week. And this is in Australia. It's sickening, and I know no one wants to talk about it, but that's why we tried to introduce a mandatory minimum sentencing for these Commonwealth child sex offences last year, which unfortunately the Labor government, not only did they vote against, they actually shut me down in trying to debate it. So I'll be trying it again. I'm going to try and get that bill up again this week in Parliament, because we need to ensure that these sort of serious crimes the perpetrators do serious time.
And that's why it's so good to see the coalition back together, Andrew, after all this, because you guys can focus on real policy and putting pressure on Labor to try and get these things sorted out. We really appreciate your time
Thank you,
this
mate,
morning,
for your time.
Andrew, after such a busy weekend.
Thanks.
Good to see
Thanks,
you guys
Mark.
are
Thanks, AD.
united and back into the game.
Indeed. Great.
Cheers, mate.
Thank
You have a good week. Stay warm.
Authorised by Andrew Wallace, LNP, Boccarina, Queensland.